morning, church. We're carrying on looking at people in the Bible who met Jesus and how it changed them. And today we're looking at the story of Bartimaeus, who was blind. Now, you would hopefully have seen the little clip that I put in called The Present about the dog and the boy. And you'll have seen how that dog didn't give up, did he? He didn't give up trying to get the boy's attention, and he didn't give up trying to catch that ball. Even though he only had 3 legs, he kept going, didn't he? And hopefully you've also seen the Bible story for today that tells you what happened to Bartimaeus when he met Jesus. So there's 3 things that I want us to think about in that story. And the first thing was how Jesus sees people who are disabled. Now, the first thing that Jesus said to Bartimaeus is, "What do you want me to do for you?" Now, you might think, well, isn't that obvious, Jesus? Why did Jesus ask him that? It's quite obvious he couldn't see. But see, Jesus doesn't see people like we do. He doesn't see somebody who can't see as somehow broken or needing fixing. He looks inside of us, doesn't he? And he doesn't see people's disabilities as making them somehow less than anyone else. So I want you to think about that. How do we look at people who have disabilities? Do we look at it with Jesus's eyes, or do we look at it with our human eyes, thinking, oh, they just need to be fixed? Have a think about that. It's the first thing I want you to think about. And secondly, what about Bartimaeus? Bartimaeus was very determined. He didn't give up. He was sitting there, he knew Jesus was there, and he kept shouting out, "Jesus, Jesus!" He kept shouting out, and he ignored everyone else around him who was going, "Stop it, stop it." He didn't listen to them. He knew he wanted to talk to Jesus, and he kept crying out for him and putting effort in, despite everybody else. And that's something else to think about, isn't it? How much effort do we put in? We have to keep going and not give up. And that's in all of life, but also in our faith as we follow Jesus. We need to keep reaching out and not listening to what the world says to us, but just keep focused on Jesus. And the third thing I want us to think about is how Bartimaeus recognised and acknowledged Jesus, even though he couldn't see. He knew straight away that Jesus was someone different. He was a son of God, and that he could heal him. And even the fact that he couldn't see, he was able to see what other people couldn't, that Jesus is the Son of God, and he's different, and he had power. And Jesus says, "Your faith has made you well," which means that Bartimaeus didn't question. He didn't say, "Oh, well, Jesus, if you're able to, I'm not sure whether you can or not, please could you make me better?" He believed and had faith that Jesus could do that for him. He didn't for 1 second think he couldn't. He just said, I want you to make me well, believing and knowing that Jesus could do it. And that's something else for us to think about today. Now, attached to your email, there's a craft activity you can do. There's a little template you can cut out, and there's a Bartimaeus' face, and you can stick it on a lolly stick. On one side, it's got his face with his eyes open, and then on the other side you could do a face with bandages over his eyes and turn it around to show how he changed after he met Jesus. Another activity you could do as a family is get your grown-up to find a bag and fill it with different items from around the house, and then get them to blindfold you, and you've got to put your hand in, bring out an item, and just by feeling it with your hands you've got to try and guess what it is, so you could have a go at that game. So have a good week. And we've had good news this week, haven't we? That those of you that have been learning from home, you can go back to school in 2 weeks' time, which is really exciting. And those of you that have been at school, you also get to see all the rest of your friends, which is something amazing, isn't it? And we can thank God for that. So I'm going to talk to God now. So if you'd like to close your eyes or just be still and quiet and listen. Dear God, thank you for keeping us all safe at this difficult time. Thank you for the news that we can start to go back to school and see our friends again. Pray that you would be with us in everything we do this week, and thank you for loving us. Amen. Have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.